reading vlog. Hey guys, what's up? It's Dom. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I typically make bookish content, movie content, miscellaneous collection content, and travel content because I like to do whatever I want. We are picking up my Rereading Twilight series with Breaking Dawn. Yes, I already took the dust jacket off. I'm not getting to Breaking Dawn until now in December. And I should also mention that Stephanie Meyer did a bad job at representing the Quileute tribe. So, I'll be linking a link in the description to where you can donate to them because they do need to move to higher ground. And if you are unable to donate, then try sharing the link so we could spread awareness. So you may have noticed when I held this book up, my bookmark is in it because yes, I have already read part 1 of the book, which is in Bella's point of view. I forgot that Seth became friends with Edward. Seth is more prevalent in this book than I thought he was. Because again, like I said in the other vlogs, the movies are very prevalent in my mind, and the movie changed this. He is not buddy-buddy, he's not really buddy-buddy with them, with the Cullens in the beginning. Because he ended up going to Bella's wedding, which I don't think he does in the movie. Bella's horny as hell, and once again, this book is doing the thing that's like the bane of my existence, is when people are clearly talking about sex, but they won't mention the fucking word. Also, can I just say, at this point in my notes, I don't even know what chapter I'm on. I think I'm still on chapter 2. But there is so much obvious foreshadowing to Renesmee. I don't know why Stephanie Meyer does it. I shouldn't say she doesn't know how to do foreshadowing because, like, the things she inputs, they're interesting stories to say the least. So the Denali Coven is actually one of those ancient covens, which I forgot about. I thought they were relatively new to society. But they're one of the ancient covens, and Carlisle told Bella this story about how in the ancient days, like before he was even born, vampires were for some reason making vampire babies, and the Denali Coven, their mother was one of those people, and that's why she got killed by the Volturi, because it became a plague, and therefore illegal to make these babies, but the mom just did it anyway. Hence why she died, hence why the Denali Coven is kind of weary, like they're still not over it all these years later. And it's like that whole story, and then Bella having dreams of her vampire child with green eyes, so not vampire child, just a child in general with green eyes, because he has to look like Edward. And then there's also a little scene, it's a flashback scene when she and Edward go to Charlie to tell him that Bella's getting married, but Charlie, they don't spit it out right away, so Charlie assumes that she's pregnant, which rightfully so. I mean, if you're 18 and you walk in the house with your boyfriend and you're like, Mom, Dad, I need to talk to you. I am of the opinion 18 is too young to get married. You may legally be an adult, but quite frankly, you're still mentally a child. I'm telling you, I am speaking from experience. I was not married at 18. I'm just saying, I'm only 23. So 5 years later, 18-year-old Dom versus 23-year-old me, the maturity levels have risen. So yeah, I'm of the opinion that 18 is way too young to get married, and therefore Charlie was in the right to assume that Bella was pregnant, because I'm sure any parent would jump to that conclusion right away in that situation. My point being is with that and then all these stories about the babies, foreshadowing to Renesmee was so obvious, and I can't believe 12-year-old me didn't see it. And then the wedding itself happened, and I can't believe there's this huge build-up to that wedding that was just short and sweet, I guess. But like the whole, like, we don't really get any dialogue, so I just feel like Bella was dissociating the whole time, which that's probably what's gonna happen if I get married. But it was only like 3 pages long. It's like that whole series build up for that, And then everyone's partying, and her human friends are there. One of them being Mike. And I will say, getting the garter thrown in his face was hilarious, and the movie should have kept that in. Alright, so guess who shows up to the wedding? My dude, Jacob. And I have mixed feelings about this scene because he tried so hard to keep calm, not making it about himself. So he found out that Bella and Edward were gonna fuck. Which, take as you will, right? He was not happy about it. It's none of his business, but he was not happy about it. And I think I actually like how the book did the scene better than in the movie, because in the movie, the way it's kind of portrayed, it's Bella, I don't want to say taunting him, but it's like in a way where a lot of his emotions, obviously he's at fault for his own emotions, take responsibility for your own actions and emotions, but in the movie it kind of seems like Bella is not tempting, what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of seems like Bella is egging him on and is causing some of the drama herself as well, whereas in the book it's made very clear that she let this slip, she didn't think it would be a big deal, and she did feel guilty about it, about letting it slip, but still, like, it is none of Jacob's business. I can see why he's scared, though. Like, getting fucked by a vampire that could crush you. Yeah, I can see why he's scared. But he blew his top. Seth came in and saved the day. Stan Seth. His attitude about this was so well. He's so cute. I love him. Anyway, so they get to Isle Esme because Carlisle bought a fucking island for his wife. Don't settle for less. I'm just saying. Bella has this whole inner monologue about how worried she is and like blah blah blah. And here's where like the whole like purity culture comes in. I understand like purity is a huge thing for a lot of religions. It was for mine growing up. Like I remember like growing up Catholic, I heard a lot that, you know, save yourself for marriage, save yourself for your husband. They put such a weird stigma on virginity for both men and women. I never got that. Even when I was religious, I never understood the big deal about it. And they always make it out to be like, you'll be this whole other person once you lose your virginity. Spoiler alert, you're not. You're not a new person. This is big sis Dom talking. You're not a new person when you lose your virginity. You're the same person. So, I mean, am I thinking too deep into this? Maybe. But again, Stephenie Meyer is very openly Mormon, and she has said herself she puts her Mormon ideals in her books. So reading this when I was 12, didn't see it. Reading this now, it's like, okay, I could kind of see like the whole like purity culture thing, because Bella was just making it more of a big deal than it actually was. And I remember the scenes being graphic, but I don't know why, because they're not described at all. And then Bella wakes up the next morning all happy. Well, shit, okay, before I go on, how was she not in pain? There was like no mention of pain. She was just happy as can be. The first time is awkward for everyone, even if you're in love. But no mention of that, which again perpetuates the weird purity culture, because the way people make this out to be, they say lose it to your husband, and then, you know, life will be perfect, it will be the best experience ever. But like a lot of people beg to differ. No mention of pain. I cannot imagine how much pain I would be in if I lost my virginity to a vampire dick. And it also begs the question, how is he hard? Does he get hard, or is he, because, you know, there's no blood flowing through the system, or is he perpetually hard because he's supposed to be, you know, as a vampire, the skin is supposed to be like stone? Stephenie Meyer, I have questions. So he tries to distract her so she doesn't get horny, but she does, so they have sex anyway. She's hungrier than usual. Eventually, she gets sick to her stomach. She throws up at the smell of chicken. And what do you know? She's pregnant. So I'm going to go on another slightly political commentary here. And because someone else brought this up in a movie reaction, Kenny JD, she reacted to part 1 recently. And she actually brought this up as well, which made me think about it. And I can kind of see it now that I'm rereading it. So even though we haven't started Jacob's part yet. So Bella's already flick of the switch. She's like, oh my god, I love this baby. I can't get rid of it. But Edward wants to, understandably, because she's human and the thing inside her is only half human and could literally kill her from the inside. And so he understandably wants to terminate it because she arguably does have a monster inside her, right? But Bella doesn't want to. It's her child. She thinks it's the little boy in her dreams. So she wants to protect it, which I understand because the maternal instincts are coming out. And as we see as the book goes on, this argument gets stronger. Half the Cullens want her to get rid of it, the other half don't want to. So this also begs the question, and again, I'm only bringing this up because Stephenie Meyer is very open about putting her beliefs into her books. Is this Stephenie Meyer's commentary on pro-life versus pro-choice? That's what I'm getting. I'm getting like, you know, the Cullens that want to terminate it should be pro-choice, but probably pro-abortion or whatever that's called. Whereas, you know, like Bella and Rosalie represent the pro-life movement. Maybe I am thinking too deep into this, but because Kenny brought that up, and because I'm older and reading this now, knowing Stephenie Meyer's belief system, is it a stretch to ask that question? But that's where we're at. So she calls Rosalie. She's like, yo, I need your help because I know you wanted a kid and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to start Jacob's point of view. Okay, so I read 3 chapters. Jacob's point of view is actually really fun to read. Like, he's kind of a dick, but, like, he has a personality. It's a breath of fresh air compared to bland-ass Bella, who's always having these inner monologues and driving me fucking crazy. Jacob wants to attack the vampires because he thinks they broke the treaty, because they're all under the impression that Bella is a vampire. And like, as much as Jacob was kind of annoying me at the scene, I was like, okay, you can't blame him because he doesn't know what we know. Sam in his alpha voice ordered no one, you know, attack the Cullens. The pack will not attack them. So Jacob decided to take matters into his own hands, and he went to the Cullens as a human, and then he finds out Bella is indeed pregnant. and he is angry, and he actually kind of feels bad for Edward, kind of doesn't. It's like, there's like a fine line there. And Edward pulls him aside and is like, hey, can you talk some sense into Bella? Get her to kill the baby and then impregnate her, which was weird to me. I forgot he made that offer, like letting Jacob fuck her, essentially. So the Cullens leave, and Jacob talks to Bella, and then, you know, Bella's like, no, I can't kill this child just for another one. Like, this child is the one I want. I don't want a generic one. This is where I'm like, okay, this is reminding me of like the whole like pro-life versus pro-choice conversation. It is very similar to arguments I read on Facebook. But Bella, I don't know, I have mixed emotions about her because it's her choice to keep this baby. So like, I get it, and I get that it's her maternal instincts coming out. Like, of course she wants to protect this child that she already loves, but at the same time, like, dude, it's literally killing you. But at least she's not stupid, because she even said, because Jacob was under the impression like that she was gonna die for this baby, but she's like, no, I'm not gonna survive as a human. I'm expecting them to turn me into a vampire. And she says, you know, I'm not stupid. Sam wants to attack tonight, but Seth and Jacob think it's a bad idea, because Jacob says, you know, if you kill a creature, that means killing Bella, which goes against the treaty, goes against what we stand for. So Seth is on his knees under the Alpha's power, and then Jacob rebels against Sam. So Sam puts him underneath that power, and that's how the chapter ends. No one goes against the Alpha, and that's it. Also, can I say, it's actually adorable how much Jacob respects Carlisle, because like that was the final thing when he was thinking about killing the vampires, and he admitted, he's like, you know, maybe it is murder for everyone, but I don't really know them well, but I do know Carlisle well, and it would be murder if we kill him, because Carlisle loves peace, and Carlisle would let them kill him in order to not have to kill his enemies. Which, we all need a man like Carlisle in our lives, honestly. The more I read about that man, the more I fall in love with him. And that's what did it. That's when Jacob was like, I'm not going to listen to you, Sam. And it's cute. He respects him. And I have to stand that. And I also have to go to bed. So we will check in tomorrow. And Bella now has a bunch of tubes connected to her. And we find out in the next chapter, it's because the baby is, again, eating her from the inside. She can't swallow any nutrients. And the baby's deteriorating, too. So, but before I get into that, so Leah joins the pack because, and she tried to play it off as, oh, I want to be with Seth, but really it's just, if she had the choice between Sam and Jacob, Sam's the ex-boyfriend. She doesn't want to be the crazy ex-girlfriend, so she pieces out. And I want to talk about that really quick because it's very obvious the way Stephanie Meyer wrote this, that we are supposed to hate Leah because she's the annoying girl who doesn't shut the fuck up, right? I like Leah. I feel bad that the pack is kicking her to the curb, whereas they bow down to Jacob's every move when it came to both of their relationship problems. I mean, here's Leah, who was in love with a guy who out of nowhere is now in love with someone else, and not just someone else, literally her cousin, who just so happened to be visiting. I don't mind that she's smug, because I feel like she has every right to be smug, because she is the one girl in this pack of boys, and she can hold her own, because you can kind of tell they look down on her because she's a girl. And she said herself, she's like, when she went to Jacob's pack, she said herself, like, I don't want to be the crazy ex-girlfriend who can't leave him. Which is the other thing, they're all mad at Leah, but they have to realize, she literally, when she was part of Sam's pack, she literally could not leave him, and that was not by choice. If she had the choice, obviously she took it and joined Jacob, but before they realized they could separate, she had to bow down to Sam's every move. The last thing I want to do is bow down to the moves of a guy who broke up with me because he suddenly fell in love with another girl. And I keep forgetting why Harry died, because in the movie he died from shock of Victoria, whereas in the book, and I don't remember reading, maybe I just didn't read it yet, but apparently in the book he died of a heart attack because he was shocked his daughter is now a werewolf. She probably feels guilt about that, and the pack just treats her like crap, and it doesn't sit right with me. And it doesn't sit right with me. We're clearly supposed to hate her and be on, like, Jacob's side. Carlisle and Jacob are talking, and, you know, we love Carlisle. I love this friendship, honestly. I think it's really cute that Jacob respects Carlisle. And Jacob thinks that the baby wants blood, so Edward and Rosalie come out, and Edward informs Carlisle what Jacob thought, because Jacob did not say it aloud. And Carlisle thinks it's a good idea. Rosalie is a little too on board with it. And Jacob is thinking what I was thinking. So before I go on with that, I want to say, when I was younger, I didn't like Rosalie in the first 2 books, and it wasn't until her story in Eclipse where it's like, okay, I do like you. And then I liked her from that point on. Rereading this, I liked her in Eclipse, and I don't like her now, because me and Jacob had the same thought. It's so obvious that is she really protecting Bella, or is she just protecting the baby so she can live vicariously through Bella? I could have mentioned that a few chapters ago because that's when I started noticing it, but I was holding off just in case. But she's just a little too protective of Bella for like my own comfort. Treats Bella like a fucking baby. Like Bella can't be alone for 2 minutes, and she made Esme go downstairs and watch her. And it's like Rosalie's acting like if she turns her back on Bella for 1 second, everyone's gonna attack Bella and rip the fetus out, you know? And she doesn't get better. She called Jacob a dog in this, and several people have come out and explain the racial implications of that, because a white woman calling a Native American a dog. Yes, Stephanie Meyer can play it off as, no, a dog's a reference to the fact he's a werewolf, blah, blah, blah. But there's more context to it. We have a lot to catch up on, because I kept reading the book without actually updating, and I screwed myself over, so now I have a long list of things in my notes. So right now, they think Sam's plan is to fall back, don't go anywhere near them, and wait till Bella dies, because Sam's banking on Jacob attacking first, giving them the okay to attack. It's kind of smart on Sam's part, I gotta say. So shit happens. Esme tries to help the werewolves, which I think is really cute. She's providing clothes and food, and Seth and Jacob will eat the food and clearly take the clothes. Leah wants nothing to do with it. Also, before I go on, because I didn't write this down, I do want to say Jacob finally understands her more. He just witnessed Edward loving Bella the way he does, and Jacob got really jealous, and he's like, I don't want to view this anymore. Now I know how Leah feels. Can't believe it took you this long, but whatever works, I guess. So Alice gets headaches because she can't see the baby. I'm still kind of confused how a vampire can get headaches, but she said herself only the normal vampires don't get them. She's not normal. The werewolves ease them, which is really strange to me, because it's like, if you get them because you can't see the baby, so why do you not get them around the werewolves? So my conclusion is just that because she could see Bella but not the baby, it's causing like a weird confusion in her mind, and that's why it's causing headaches. So you know how Rosalie always calls Jacob a dog? I will say I do like how Jacob gets back at Rosalie. And if anything, like, because Rosalie, I've noticed the other Cullens, like, sometimes throughout the books they would call Jacob a dog, but they've now stopped, and it's just Rosalie who continues it. So characterization-wise, Rosalie's a bitch. I'm sorry, I don't like her in Breaking Dawn. I know, like, you're kind of supposed to, I guess. I don't know. I just don't like her. But I like how Jacob gets back at her with all those dumb blonde jokes. And, like, why? That ages this book. I remember the dumb blonde jokes from when I was younger, because this book came out in 2008, so I was 11. In 5th and 6th grade, we thought those were the funniest things. What happened to dumb blonde jokes? Do young kids still say them? Or is that, like, a weird, like, early 2000s thing? I thought they were hilarious, and some of his are clever. Rosalie doesn't like them, but I don't give a shit what she likes. Alright, and then the foreshadowing towards Jacob imprinting is kind of a little obvious, because Bella keeps saying, I know you're meant to be in my life. I don't know why, but you are. So then we get more info about this, like, half human, half vampire baby, and Edward brings up that woman that was at their honeymoon, and there just wasn't a lot about it. Apparently, like, Rosalie was super smug about the mothers not surviving, and it left a bad taste in my mouth, but Jacob believes that she's going to use her teeth to rip the baby out, because why not? I mean, if you have the means, you might as well. And plus, if she does, like, I was thinking about that, though, because, yeah, it seems gruesome to use her teeth to rip the baby out, but, like, if she uses her teeth, therefore biting Bella, Bella turns into a vampire. And that at this point, that's the only way she's going to survive. So maybe it's not too bad of a thing. I don't know. But yeah, during that chapter, she kind of just gave the vibes that she cared more about the baby surviving than Bella's survival. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did get to the part where Jacob threw the dog bowl. So Rosalie made him a dog bowl, I should say. And again, implications to that. And I forgot, what did she say? But she said something that pissed off Edward. So Edward was about to attack her, but then Jacob was like, no, allow me. And he took the dog bowl and whipped it at her. And she's like, you got food in my ear. So then Jacob died laughing, and even Alice was laughing. I always forget Alice is in that chapter because she just kind of chills out. You know, Jacob has his extremely toxic moments, but then he has moments where I'm like, you go. This is why, you know, you do have moments when you're a great character. But in the last chapter, Leah and Jacob are getting along, because now that they've had some heart-to-heart talks, they do get along, and I like their dynamic in a way where I almost shipped them. But then I found out Leah's 20. I knew she was older, but I was thinking like Bella older, like 2 years. But she's 4 years older than him, and I was like, ooh, I don't ship that anymore. That's a little weird. And I still feel bad for Leah, because at this point, this is when we find out that she actually relates to Rosalie. As much as she hates vampires, she could see Rosalie's point of view. She thinks Rosalie's living vicariously through Bella, which I have mentioned, because I think that too. And it's because she relates because they're both like genetic dead ends, because I guess turning into a werewolf made Leah infertile, and it's just a theory, like it's not like proven, but she thinks that because if she's the only female wolf in history, that means her genetics are obviously superior, and the theory is that they imprint on people who would make their genetics better. So the question is, why is she not imprinting? Why is she still in love with Sam? Why is no one imprinting on her? So she thinks she became infertile because the other reason they imprint is to pass on their genes. It makes me wonder why Stephenie Meyer chose that route. Like, I know being a werewolf changes their bodies, but their bodies aren't frozen like a vampire's body. So I wonder why Meyer wouldn't let her have a child anyway. Like, why does I know it's like a canon theory and it's not like canon proved, but Leah went through so much shit in her life. At least give her a child if she wants one. I don't know. This is also the chapter where we find out what Bella wants to name the kids. Everyone makes fun of Renesmee's name, but to be honest, I kind of always liked the name. I thought it was cool. And I do think it sounds pretty. I wouldn't name my child that by any means, but I don't know. I kind of like it. This is also the chapter where Edward can hear the baby's thoughts. And wouldn't it be so funny if the baby was just like, I'm a fucking girl, because we all know it's a girl by now. Where do I even begin? So, Jacob was all like angry and shit. He went to go hunt woman, basically, like in his own words. He called it hunting to see if he can imprint on someone. He met a girl named Lizzie who liked cars. Who knows how Twilight would have turned out if he just imprinted on her. He comes back. Edward's kind of pissed at Leah because apparently Leah stood up for Jacob and like screamed at Bella. But we don't actually know what the situation was like exactly. So was Leah in the wrong? I kind of support Leah in that decision, like standing up for her friend, because Bella is kind of, I don't know. He's like she knows this poor boy, she knows Jacob's like in love with her, and she's still like, yeah, hang out with me and my married husband while I'm pregnant, you know? So I kind of understand where Leo was coming from, and I support. And then Bella drops her fucking cup of blood, bends down, and that's when the baby decides to be like, I'm coming today. It was graphic. It was as graphic as I remember. What's his face? Jacob had to punch Rosalie in the face to get her out of there. Renesmee's born. Bella's dying, which I was kind of sort of confused about because her heart stopped, but Jacob and Edward got it thumping again. But then Jacob just assumed Bella was like dead, but it's like, why did you not assume it was just her turning into a vampire? Also, okay, speaking of vampire, because you know how I said like maybe Rosalie biting the baby out of Bella would not be a bad thing because, you know, ripping her skin means putting venom into her body, turning into a vampire. So yeah, Rosalie went fucking rabid, so she couldn't do it. So Edward did it, but nothing happened, like venom-wise. He bit through her stomach to get Renesmee out, but that wasn't turning her. That doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe that's a plot hole. That scene where Bella's dead is a lot less dramatic than it is in the movie, because in the movie's like, Edward, you get to live with this, you know, as Edward's biting around Bella's body, you have to live with this, I would kill you, but now I want you to suffer, so live. And then Jacob leaves, whereas in the book, he's like, damn, I'm sad, and then leaves, has his little inner monologue about how he wants to kill Renesmee, and then imprints on Renesmee. I liked his inner monologue talking about wanting to kill Renesmee, because that's a big thing with werewolves, like, they're supposed to kill vampires, but in Jacob's point of view, since he's allying with them, we don't get to see that language, so it's kind of cool to see the language that, you know, was probably going through his head in the other few books where he is a vampire. It's kind of funny to me because obviously that pull he's talking about is, you know, Renesmee, how he was going to imprint on her. But it's just funny to me that like where all the other werewolves were probably like this lovey-dovey pull, his was just a murderous rage and just Renesmee growing up and being told like I was pulled towards you, but that's because I wanted to kill you. He imprinted on a baby, and we as a society let that happen. We've all talked till we're blue in the face about it. And I hate myself for thinking, like, there's that whole monologue of him, like, falling in love. And I hate myself for thinking it was cute. Because it's with the fucking baby. But if it wasn't with the baby, that monologue would actually be really well done. But here we are. It's with a newborn baby. And also, I guess both Sam and Billy's theories are wrong, because Sam said it's all about, like, genetics, that's why we imprint, whereas Billy said it's to make a stronger werewolf. Something tells me a werewolf and a half-vampire, half-human baby can't, well, especially a baby, but a half-human, half-vampire creature in general can't get it on. So maybe Leah can imprint later. I don't really know how far that theory goes, or if it's ever explained again, because I noticed sometimes Stephenie Meyer introduces these things, and this just drops them off, never explained again. Okay, so the other thing I want to say is just looking back and rereading this book, it is kind of funny to me that everyone thinks Renesmee is going to be this this abomination, murderous creature, and not only Sam thinks that, and, you know, Jacob in the moment thinking Bella's dead, but later the Volturi think that. They're like, what's this creature gonna do? But logically speaking, I don't feel like a half human, half vampire creature would be as dangerous. Like, if I had to choose between Renesmee and Edward to be the most dangerous, I'm obviously going to go with Edward, because he's the one who's 100% vampire. Unless Stephenie Meyer's thing was just supposed to be like, you know, new creature, maybe the genetics won't work correctly. The whole Zuko thing where it's like Sozin versus Roku, maybe that's what Meyer was going for with Renesmee. The inner demon versus the human, the devil on your shoulder versus the angel on your shoulder. Maybe, I don't know, I'm probably thinking too deep into it, but just looking back at it now, it's like, that makes no sense. Also, the whole like thing where everyone's like, Jacob was attracted to Bella's eggs. I see that now because when Renesmee was like out of Bella's system, he said himself the pull towards Bella was gone. So I was like, oh, that's where that theory came from. Or maybe Stephenie Meyer confirmed it. I don't know. But this book is fucking weird. Well, I'm on page 605 now. So it's been a while since Jacob's part ended at page 360. Bella turned into a vampire. That whole chapter was a whole monologue. I don't care. Moving on. So then the next chapter is Her Hunt is Bella's hunting chapter. And a lot of people criticize Bella for being a Mary Sue. And this is where I kind of saw it, just because she skipped the whole, like, scary newborn phase. Like, she's in control of herself. She doesn't really lose control easily. I don't really like that. Like, I kind of wanted to see her struggle a bit. Like, I wanted to see the newborn's perspective, which I know we get with The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. It's just, I wasn't a huge fan of that book. Plus, I mean, I knew Bree was gonna die anyway, so what exactly were the stakes? Whereas this one, I think it would have added more tension, more drama, because it's a romance series. We love drama and romance. They don't show any struggle until the next chapter where she finds out Jacob, is it the next chapter? I don't know. The next sequence of events where she finds out Jacob imprints on her literal baby, and she's angry about it, which, thank you, Bella. I would be angry too if someone came up to me and said, hey, I'm in love with your infant. So, and what really ticks her off is Jacob calling Renesmee Nessie. Quite frankly, I don't blame Bella. Knowing Renesmee's personality and how it develops throughout the book, like, Renesmee fits better than boring-ass Nessie. So I don't blame Bella for, losing her cool. But again, she snaps out of it. I don't know, like, punch Jacob in the arm or something. But she snaps out of it because Seth jumps in, so she breaks this is my second take, and I did this the last take. She breaks Seth's shoulder. Oh my god. She breaks his shoulder, and then she snaps out of it. And she's like, she's in agony about how she lost her cool, and everyone's like, dude, if you were a normal newborn vampire, Jacob would be dead, Seth would be dead, we'd all be dead because you'd lost your cool. But before you could do any more damage, you found your inner person, your inner human, or whatever. And I don't know, I want the stakes to be higher. I will say, though, and it's really weird to say this, but Jacob has gotten a lot more bearable now that he's imprinted. So we find out Renesmee has a gift, and she shows you her thoughts by putting her hand on your face. Something I wondered about in my initial read and in this read. We know that Bella blocks gifts that are all mental, and she does not block Renesmee's. Like, Renesmee can get through the barrier. Why doesn't Bella question that right away? I know the answer, like, I remember the answer, but I forgot how far into the book it was explained, because on page 605, Bella still doesn't realize, hey, my daughter's mental gift can get through my barrier when no one else can't. But if I were Bella, and, here's this, I'm dating a mind reader who cannot read my mind, and I'm the only mind he can't read, I feel like I would say something if Renesmee put her hand to my cheek and I could see her dreams and shit. I would be caught off guard, honestly, but Bella wasn't. Maybe it was because she was too mesmerized. But they get a cottage. And this is when Edward discussed the needs of a vampire. After the initial year being a crazy newborn, you get these sexual needs. But this led to the question, how do covens deal with it when other people of their covens want to fuck? Like, because Edward even says it took like 10 years to be anywhere near a 5-mile radius of Emmett and Rosalie. Like, how do you stand that? And I want to know about the dynamics of that and the Cullens, like a morbid curiosity. What if Carlisle and Esme just want to get it on? Do they just tell the kids, hey kids, we're leaving for the weekend, peace out, have fun? But wouldn't that make everyone uncomfortable, especially like Alice, because she could see the future, so she could probably see that. Edward's a fucking mind reader, so he could see it in their minds. There has to be some awkwardness to it. I'd be uncomfortable, and plus, can't they hear that? So Charlie comes in. He's in on the secret now, but like not really. He knows the public story is a lie, but he doesn't want to know more, so he's not asking. Everyone's like super happy, except there's a catch to this happiness, a caveat, if you will. Renesmee is growing at an alarming rate. So the caveat to the happiness is that they're afraid that Renesmee is going to die because of the rate she's maturing and physically growing. Bella's wondering, is she going to die in 15 years? Which I think is a valid question because she's half human. So part of her has to be destructible. But then Irina comes along as Bella's in this meadow with Jacob and Renesmee, and Irina runs away right away, right? Alice gets this vision. She turns out that Irina snitched on them because she thought Renesmee was an immortal child. And again, immortal children are illegal, and the Volturi are coming to the Cullens to kill them in a month. So she just grabs Jasper and pieces out. They leave. Now everyone's understandably upset because they're gonna die in a month, but Bella and Edward have to stay home so they can show people Renesmee and try to tell them not to freak out. And when saying goodbye, Carlisle kissed Bella's forehead, and he's not kissing my forehead. I want a Carlisle to kiss my forehead. I'm being left out here. Thanks, Bella. The Denali coven comes. They freak out when they see Renesmee because they assume she's an immortal child. But obviously Renesmee wins them over. Something Alice told them was, you have to get the truth out of Eliezer, and it's like, what the fuck does he know? Turns out Eliezer worked for the Volturi because his gift is automatically knowing other people's gifts. He makes a mention like, wow, this family's so talented. We have a mind reader for a father, a shield for a mother, and then Renesmee could do her thing, and everyone's like, a shield? So it turns out that that's Bella's true gift. She is a shield from the mental gifts. Gifts? Did I say gifts? She's a shield from the mental gifts. Whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And then we just find out about other people's gifts, like Chelsea breaks ties. So Bella and Edward start thinking, oh, maybe Alice saw this vision where Chelsea, breaks her ties with the Cullens. Because, and this is what makes Aro like a really cool villain in my opinion, but Eliezer finds a pattern. Whenever people hunt down covens, the only time like Aro, like everyone really goes is if Aro is looking for a specific gift. So it's like, where are they going with this, right? And Chelsea is part of this pattern where whenever they find that vampire, she cuts their familial ties so they can kill the rest of the coven, and then that specific vampire feels nothing as they survive, and then Chelsea fucks with the ties some more so that vampire feels bonded to the Volturi. And then Edward makes a mention that, back in New Moon, Aro wants nothing more than Alice, because Alice can see the future. So that's their theory right now, that's the whole reason Aro is coming. He can kill off the Cullens and get Alice. And that brings me back to like a fan fiction I want to read. I want an AU where like something drastic happened, so Alice did join the Volturi. I think that would be cool. This was probably like my favorite part of Breaking Dawn, just finding out everything that all these vampires could do. So much potential, so much more Stephenie Meyer could have worked with, but no, she went with the bland characters, Bella and Edward, but it's fine. It's fine. Alice was in a fucking mental asylum, but no, we just had to get Twilight and Edward's point of view, not her book. Also, before I go, I just want to say Rosalie is also more bearable now that we're not in Jacob's point of view. And, now that Renesmee's here, because I don't even know. Maybe Jacob's point of view is influencing my opinion too much. But yeah, Rosalie's more bearable now. She's fine, I guess. Jacob's a lot more bearable. It's a great time. I'm still upset that I don't have a forehead kiss from Carla. Wow, it is 2 days after Christmas. I was not expecting to take a whole fucking month to read this goddamn book. I did receive gifts from 2 booktubers. I received, and I'll talk about this in a haul. I don't know if the haul will be posted by the time this video is, but I don't think so.
Full-time professional, rated by One Family Magazine, #1 clown.
I received Where Angels Fear to Tread. I forgot who that's by, but I got that from Abby over at Autumn of Pelennor, and then I got Animal Farm by George Orwell from Olivia Savannah over at Olivia's Catastrophe. They are awesome. Go check out their stuff, and thank you guys so much. And I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. I hope everyone watching this had a Merry Christmas. What a year it's been. If you see clothes in the background, don't mind that. They're clean. I just have to get off my lazy ass and put them away. So anyway, where are we at? All the new vampires have come. There's the Egyptian coven, the Irish coven, the Romanian coven. There's a lot. There's you know, I was gonna say air nomads. Wow. There's nomads who don't really speak a word, so I forget about them a lot. For the Irish coven, can I just mention, because the leader's name is Siobhan. How come whenever Americans write an Irish character and need a Gaelic name, their go-to is always Siobhan? I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I see that in a lot of books. I see that in a lot of Irish American families. Whenever they decide to go Gaelic, it's always Siobhan. I met a lot of Siobhans over the years. Benjamin from the Egyptian coven is the Avatar. He can bend all 4 elements, or as Stephanie Meyer says, he can control them. And they even at one point talk about balance. I forgot why. I think he's supposed to bring balance in a moon's life or something like that. You know what Uncle Iroh said about balance?
Full-time professional, rated by One Family Magazine, #1 clown.
When the Avatar kept balance between the Water Tribes, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation, and Air Nomads.
Like, the whole theme of the show is balance, so good job, Stephanie Meyer. I like the Amazonian coven. Only 2 of the 3 came. One of them is Zafrina. I think she's really cool. Her gift is that she's like a virtual reality system, basically. Like, she can make you believe you're somewhere you're not. She has, like, I don't want to say it's a big part, but she has a lot of speaking parts. Like, she's, like, Renesmee's favorite of the new people. So why, from what I remember, like, why didn't she really talk a lot in the movie? This is before they figure out Bella has a gift. They're teaching her how to fight, and then we find out Kate's gift, and it's that she has, like, an electric current all throughout her body. And you know what my question is? Is she Azula? Come on, we never know. She could be Azula. She could be, if this was Avatar, she could be a firebender. I'm just saying. But Bella wasn't really cooperating, so in order to get her to cooperate, right? Did they find out her gift by this point? Yeah, okay, so they do find out her gift at this point because she's shielding Kate because Kate's, like, electricity doesn't work. So in order to get Bella to expand her shield, Kate attempts to attack Renesmee. Doesn't work, and it's like, Kate, why would you attack a child? Maybe she is Azula. Kate is Azula. If this was Avatar, she would be Azula. I'm just saying. All she needs left is to say the famous line at the end of the series.
I'll show you lightning!
The friend Alistair leaves. This has a whole discussion of the Romanians, like, determining who would survive, who wouldn't, who the Volturi wants to keep. Going back to Avatar, there were 2 renaissances this year. The Avatar Renaissance, the Twilight Renaissance, and now they're truly coming together. But the Romanians call Benjamin the Earth Mover, and you know what? I'm calling it. Benjamin is the Earthbender Avatar that comes after Korra. Does it make sense chronologically when it comes to, like, the time and shit? No. Do I care? Absolutely not. So without further ado, here we are declaring it. Benjamin is the next Avatar from the Earth Kingdom. Moving on, they also call Kate Fire Touch. You know who else has a fire touch? Azula. Kate is Azula. Kate's a firebender. We're calling it. And yeah, the rest of that chapter is everyone declaring they'll fight. Even I almost said the fucking air nomads. Even the nomads who we don't really see speaking before, like Mary and Randall, they have like 1 word, so what's the point of them being in the book? I don't know. Okay, so I forgot when this happened exactly, but Bella finally mentioned the fact that Renesmee can get through her shield. Why did it take this long? I don't know. But because she just mentioned that now, and now she has all these questions, and of course Edward's been thinking about it, leads me to believe that Stephanie Meyer forgot about this, and rather than, you know, going back in the story and editing and revising and putting in foreshadowing, she just randomly sticks it in for this I have a theory crap and has Edward go on long monologues about it. Which, why? Like, that's how it, why? Like, that's how it reads. Why not go back and edit it, include some foreshadowing? But anyway, the point of that scene was just to let us know that Bella lets no one in, and Renesmee, her daughter, is the exact opposite and lets everyone in. And then the chapter ends with them waiting in the meadow because the Volturi are coming. The snow is sticking. Here they are. 70 pages left. I have 25 pages left, but I just want to update now, so there's not a lot to talk about. But y'all, this book, there's no reason this book needs to be 750 pages. I was kind of thinking it as the story was going on. Stephanie Meyer drags us out a bit, but these last two chapters, especially the one I just finished reading, my god. Okay, so the first one, the Volturi arrive. In summary, Aro and Caius find out that Irina got it wrong. That's it. Then the next chapter. Oh boy. Okay, so Irina's dead. Right now they're just finding any excuse they can to kill off the Cullens, and Garrett thinks it's because they feel threatened by the Cullens, so they want to attack that threat, and plus they want it's not to protect their secrecy, it's just to protect their reputation. They don't want to go home and, you know, have the reputation that they were wrong, so they're just looking for any way to kill off the Cullens. And right now they're like, wow, there's no hope, we're all gonna die. I was thinking about this because can you imagine Bella being like, you need to bite me, Edward, so we can live forever, for all of eternity. And it's like, now that she's a vampire, hey, you're not living for eternity at all. You have like less than a month to live. If you were a human, you probably just could have kept on living your years out. So the irony of that situation, obviously we know how it's gonna go because it's a reread. But still, I think that's fucking hilarious. And Bella never comments about it. It's always like, oh my god, I love Edward so much. We're together. We're two halves of a whole. I'm like, oh, shut up. I don't care. You know who I ship though? I hardcore ship Garrett and Kate. And it was really cute because as they were saying goodbyes, Garrett told her, you know, wherever you go, I'll go. And then Kate was like, now he tells me. I think that was fucking hilarious. Something I did not think was hilarious was while they were saying goodbye to Jacob, Edward, you know, leaned against him. He's like, goodbye, Jacob, my brother, my son. What? No thank you. I know what he means. He's technically like Jacob's father-in-law right now. I still don't like it. So they're getting ready to fight. I'm getting ready to fall asleep, but there's 25 pages left, and I want to finish this tomorrow, despite the fact it's after 11 p.m. and I need to be up at 6:30 in the morning. All in the name of Twilight. I am done, finally, at 12:45 in the morning. I'm so fucking tired. But anyway, let's go on. Something I wanted to mention in the last clip but forgot is that, you know, Aro, if he was better written, because let's be serious, these books aren't as well written as I would like them to be, but Aro is actually an interesting villain because I've noticed his words have double meanings. Like, on the outside they're very, very nice, but if you squint really hard, they are very threatening and he means something else. I noticed that was a reoccurring theme in some of these chapters. So in the second to last chapter, they're getting ready to fight, but then Edward's like, hey, I have more evidence. And it's because he hears Alice's thoughts. So Alice and Jasper are back. It was a whole ruse. They were obviously never ditching the family. They were out finding their own evidence. In comes, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but is it Hulin? And Nahul? 150 years ago, Hulin's sister was pregnant with this half-immortal, half-mortal child. Nahul breaks free, the mom dies, but he bit Hulin, which is how she became a vampire. And but he also has sisters because his dad is like an experimenter, a scientist, if you will. But none of the sisters have venom. Renesmee doesn't have venom. So we can conclude that the males have venom, but the females don't. So, you know, like secondary sex characteristics. My zoology major is coming in to describe vampires to you guys. Oh, we love to see it. And that's it. The Volturi are like, ooh, because it was Aro's final decision. He was like, ooh, okay, there's no threat. And it was also like a good thing because he asked Nahul what his life was like. He reached the age of maturity at 7 years old. But what is the age of maturity? Is that puberty? Is that 18? It's obviously not puberty because he was described as a man, but you know what I mean. Is it 18? Is it 25? You know, when the brains are fully developed? So Aro's like, okay, no danger here, we're gonna peace the fuck out. And we find out it's because he was horrified of Bella, absolutely terrified, because they realized that they were a fight. It was uneven and they would be the side that would lose because, you know, Bella was protecting everyone, so therefore the Volturi couldn't use their gifts, but the Cullens and co could still use theirs against the Volturi. So Aro was scared, and he's like, peace out, hope we could be friends again. And Carla was like, you need to, like, prove to us we could be friends again. And Carl's like, oh shit, and then left in shame, and we love to see it. I will say, I understand why the movie put that fight scene that never, the fight scene that was full of plot holes, but I understand why they put the fight scene in the movie, because this was anticlimactic. Wow, because I remember watching that scene and I was like, this isn't in the book, but like rereading it these many years later, this many years, rereading it now, it's like, yeah, that needed more action. That was anticlimactic. But everyone leaves, so they're all home. Also, she started calling Renesmee Nessie. Like, she was, because, like, Nessie's like, do I get to stay with you? And she's like, yeah, Nessie. And I'm like, who the fuck is Nessie? I still hate that name. They get to their cottage, Renesmee goes to bed, and turns out Bella not only shields herself from people, but she can unshield herself. So she showed Edward her thoughts. Edward got really excited, but she's like, hey, I can't do this if I'm distracted. So he's like, I'll be good. Alas, 2 seconds into it, he kisses her, and she's like, we got forever to figure this out. And then we continued into our bit of forever. And just because he was like making out with her and kissing her jaw, I'm like, is that line supposed to be like a fluffy way of saying they had sex, they're fucking? Who knows? But that is the end of the Twilight series. I am giving this 5 out of 5 stars. Yes, I am well aware I had a lot of caveats and I complained about a lot of things. But minus the things I complained about, did I still vastly enjoy this? Yes, I did. I enjoyed my experience with this book. This is my favorite out of all 4 books. I'm glad I went on this journey this year. I wasn't expecting it to take this long because I was hoping to have this done like fucking mid-October, but here we are. I will be reading Life and Death and Midnight Sun. Those will get vlogs, and look forward to my movie reactions coming in 2021. I don't know when in 2021. But once those other 2 vlogs are up, the movies will begin, and I'm excited to get started. Oh my god, yeah, some other things to mention. Jacob. He's not really as important of a character in part 3 of Breaking Dawn. Like, once the imprinting happens, it's like I constantly forgot he was there. Like, Bella would mention he was in the room, and then it wasn't until he said a line of dialogue that I remembered that. Something I do appreciate about the series, and a lot of romance that's really cliched. I feel like the last book would end with Bella turning into a vampire, but it does not. Like, I mean, like, yeah, she doesn't become a vampire until the last book, but she becomes a vampire like a little before halfway. So we actually got to see her life as a vampire. We're not left wondering what would have happened. You see what I'm saying? So I do appreciate that, Stephanie Meyer. Thank you. And other than that, I got nothing else. Like, I feel like I want to repeat myself, and I'm trying to stop that because who knows how long this vlog is. But if you made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you stick around for my other bookish and movie videos. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Comment, like, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. And without further ado, I'm going to peace out, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao a tutti.